Good afternoon, whole milk fans, 2% milk fans, and skim milk fans. And welcome to, believe it or not, National Milk Day edition of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. I forgot to mention chocolate milk, and that's everybody's favorite, right? Mike Lubitz, how are you today? Welcome to the Lunchbox. You're filling in for Jeff Tifo DeForest. He is off in Italy. I don't think he's drinking a lot of milk in Italy, maybe a couple of cappuccinos early in the day, hopefully a lot of vino later in the day, and a couple of maybe the Camparis and the what's it called, the Negronis. That's one of the great
Yes.
drinks that you could lounge in one of the piazzas there. I don't know where he's at now, but I know where you're at because I could actually see you. For those of you who are listening, we are adding a streaming service that we can actually go to video. We're trying to experiment with things here, but of course, you're listening to Mike Mayo's Lunchbox on the new WWNN. Now it's called the Talk of South Florida, but it's still on 1470 AM. It's also on 95.3 and 96.9 FM. It's still on WWNNtalkradio.com. And now it's also streaming in maybe some other places. We'll figure out where. But how are you today, Lubie?
I'm doing well, Mr. Mayo. Yes, right now it's on our Defo Show page, and Mike, hopefully someone will share it there. But yes, each and every day, love being here on WWNN, Mike Mayo's Lunchbox. Appreciate you having me here, and lots of tennis going on, so we'll have to fill in Defo's void.
Yeah, we got one of our locals, Jessica Pagula, who is. It looks like Can you hear me, Ryan?
Yes.
Is anybody there? Oh, okay. I got a little worried there. I always get nervous with new technology. I guess you're rubbing off on me, Luby. But yeah, Jessica Pagula was in the quarterfinals at the French Open, and she's actually the doubles partner of Coco Gauff, and I think they're playing later today in a doubles match. But she lost. Jessica Pagula, who's part-time Boca Raton resident, lost to the number one overall seed in the women's bracket today in straight sets. So there will be no possibility of an All-American Coco Gauff, Jessica Pagula final, but we're still going to be rooting for Coco Gauff, and that's going to be tomorrow. Thursday is the semifinals at the French Open, and I think NBC is going to broadcast that semifinal match with the young 18-year-old phenom from Delray Beach, and we're very excited for her. And it's her deepest run yet in a Grand Slam event. So I think all of South Florida, maybe all of America, is pulling for her because I don't think there's many American players left in the upper echelons of tennis. So what's happening in that regard, Luby? Whatever happened to American tennis?
It's interesting. You're seeing it in the women's front, a lot of South Florida influence with Stevens. You had Madison Keys a few years ago, Pagula, Goff. Now they're not in the top 10 as of yet, but it feels like at least Goff's making a charge. We've heard her name quite often the last few years. Men's, I don't know. It's weird. Like tennis is still a big deal down here. Defo plays regularly. I know people that are younger play. It's interesting that no one young has broken in America in a long. Andy Roddick was the last, I think, like major Grand Slam champion. And that's what, 20 years ago, 15 years ago?
Yeah, no, tennis is usually popular. Obviously, an outdoor sport that is, a lot of fun in the sun. And, besides the Defoe, Joe Rose plays, Harvey Fialkov, friend of the Defoe show and the Lunchbox. And, my man Dickstein up in Best of Delray Land, Delray Beach, Stephen Dickstein, who me and him have been getting this app off the ground. And please, if you're out there in Radio Land or Streaming Land, please go to the App Store or Google Play and search for Best of Local. And once you search for Best of Local, you'll download that app. It's going to be eventually a network nationwide, worldwide, of local services and restaurant and entertainment guide. And in Delray Beach, we just launched. So if you go download that app, you're going to find all kinds of good things and information and useful ways to navigate around and make reservations and order delivery. It's all with the touch of a finger. You don't have to go searching on Google or anything. It kind of takes the, for those of you who are already kind of lazy and just doing everything on your phone, it's great because it's for people who are even lazier. It's just it's really a handy app. So I do urge everybody out there to check out Best of Local on the App Store, and then you'll find Best of Delray Beach. and then it'll be coming soon to a city near you all over South Florida. Lubie, that's my little pitch for the day, and I know I'm wandering all over the place. I had one of those nights, Lubie, where you ever have the, I guess they call it insomnia, but I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning when nature called, and I just could not fall back asleep.
Yep.
And so now, I guess, I had a bunch of stuff I had to do today. So, at 3 or 4 in the morning, it's nice because the whole house is quiet. There's nobody else making a racket. You're just alone and you can concentrate. So I knocked off a bunch of work. The problem is, now here we are at noon and I am just running on fumes, getting a little dizzy. And I'm supposed to meet Dickstein and the Best of Del Rey crew later in the day. We're going to be having some cocktails and a little huddling strategy session. And that's it down on Atlantic Avenue. And I know we talked about Del Rey and downtown and how that's hopping, and going to a place called Salt 7, which I guess is very trendy among the youths. And I'll probably feel like a fish out of water or an old man in a sea of very young pulchritude. But did you ever go? There's a Salt 7 that actually opened up down in Fort Lauderdale. It's down on the New River. It's just off of Las Olas Boulevard, and it's also attracting a very young and hip and trendy crowd. But I guess you and the lovely Shirley have not stumbled upon it yet.
Okay, I went to something a few years ago that was in downtown that was like they had a bunch of different food trucks kind of things, and then they had bars and they had music playing. Is that it? With the thing you're saying sounds really cool. I'm sort of sad. If I haven't been there, I want to go.
You've just described like half the places on Las Olas, but and it's like half the places on Atlantic now. It's all, they've got happy hours, they've got, sometimes live music, sometimes DJs, late night club scenes. This Salt 7, they have this very active social media presence with I guess what you'd call a bevy of young beauties. And, the Instagram accounts have loaded up on followers because there's usually some, attractive young woman that's going around showcasing the latest in the cocktails or food at the Salt Sevens. Again, there's a Salt 7 in Fort Lauderdale. There's a Salt 7 in Delray Beach. And yeah, so I haven't eaten there, and I'm gonna, I guess, have a little happy hour session there, and maybe a couple of cocktails. Although the way I'm going now, I probably should stick to the caffeine, which I
Coffee.
got here, and just kind of try. Hopefully, that I just don't, fall face down in my plate of hummus or whatever they're going to be serving with happy hours.
Well, see, that's the thing is doing mornings for now. I think we started mornings in like 2013 or something. Mornings for 9 years. And more. Yes, I have it a lot of those days because the problem is like if you struggle to fall asleep, you start doing the math. Okay, so now it's 4 hours. Okay, now it's 3 hours. So that's like the worst. Once you get there, it's really hard to get any sleep. And Default talks about that all the time where he'll wake up at 2 and then that's the end of it. So like the rest of the day sort of stinks because once you get used to a certain amount of sleep, you can get coffee and Red Bull and all these things, but they only do so much. Nothing is sleep. So good luck.
Yeah. So, but my life more revolves around eating these days than sleeping. So that's
Just
okay.
these days.
And now that we're like doing the little video streaming, I know how much Defo loved when I would be on the
There you go.
air, whether it's radio or the stream on the morning Defo shows that the Gambling Gourmet rears his ugly head once a week on Friday mornings. But now if we, I just have to break in the video part of the Lunchbox with I've got a little slice, the last slice of my margarita pizza that I picked up the other day at Pizza Spot down in Fort
Nice.
Lauderdale. And they're on vacation now the next 2 weeks. So I got to savor this bite because I ain't going to get any more of Wade's pizza until June 14th. And here we go. I heard that crisp.
Here's a thing to
That's
behold.
crisp. I just put it in the toaster oven. It's delicious. It's thin. But now that Wade is and Reese are on a little hiatus, it means I'm gonna have to get my pizza needs fulfilled up at Costas Greek Eatery and Pizzeria up in
There you go.
Pompano, our new sponsors. We welcomed them aboard yesterday. Let me finish eating this pizza before I choke.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a really great combo. Like I was just in Greece and over there they love pizza. Pizza's everywhere, and of course Greek food's everywhere. So one location that has it all. I'm super stoked to have them a part of the Mike Mayo Lunchbox family.
Yeah, and it's one of those places that as soon as you walk in, it's not fancy or anything. It's just like a a neighborhood pizza parlor joint that you walk in and family friendly, but they have a nice dining room set up. And the first time I went in there, I saw all these beautiful pies and pizza pies. And Costa is originally, I guess, Greek, obviously, but he spent a lot of time in Queens, New York, and Jamaica near Aqueduct Racetrack, where I spent some time in my youth. And but he loves he puts a little Greek spin on his pizza, but it's also a New York style, thin, crispy slice. And with the stuff that Defo likes, he loves when that little river of, I don't want to call it grease, it's like oil, olive oil
Yes,
that they put on the
my
pie,
dream.
that rivulet of grease that when you fold it over, it starts dripping down, and sometimes it gets on your
Yeah.
chin, sometimes it gets on your shirt. I'm one of those guys. I used to pat
I
my
man.
slices down with the napkin and blot it a little bit,
Mhm.
but it's that kind of style of pizza at
Nice.
Costas. And besides the pizza, and he's got all these different varieties. He's got the pepperoni, and he's got this gorgonzola spinach is absolutely fantastic. It's a little bit different, and it gives it more of that Greek flair. But and he's got a full Greek menu there with the stuff. The spinach pie, the spanakopita, the souvlakis. He has either pork or chicken. That's the kind of like on the shish kebab kind of cubes that you put on a salad, or put it with some pita and put it in a sandwich. Anyway, all kinds of good stuff at Costas, and we welcome them aboard. And we're going to be doing our shows there actually once a month. This month it's going to be next Tuesday on the 7th, but after that it's going to be the second Tuesday of the month. So we're going to hopefully get some people to come on out and try some of his good Greek food and maybe a slice of pizza. And looking forward to that. And of course, we usually do our third Wednesday of the month. We do a live remote at Even Keel Fish Shack. Our friends Brad and Dave up in
Yep.
Lauderdale by the sea. And yeah, this is what we intended to do with the Lunchbox, especially if we get the video component streaming here. Be great, because then you can actually see the food and see the people behind the kitchens, or the people who just are so passionate about everything they do. I mean, the restaurant and hospitality business, they've been through a lot, and that's why we love to support them. And I love to eat good food, and that's what the Lunchbox is all about. Lubie, sometimes we talk sports, but most of the time I'm stuffing my face. And
Making me hungry.
yeah.
I never leave this show full. I always leave this show wanting more. So I guess that's a good thing. I learned that early in radio.
And then, of course, we've got, every Thursday now with Nikki Mohan, which
I
has just
know.
been a wonderful addition
Yes.
to the show, where we go out and about and explore Greater Fort Lauderdale's culinary diversity with all these different restaurants and all the different, I think there's 74 different nationalities of cuisine represented in Broward County alone.
Wow.
So for anybody who says that this is a boring food scene, you're not getting out enough. You got to know where you're going. A lot of these places are hidden in some strip malls, and you got to get off the beaten, maybe the touristy path. Although we love our beach restaurants, and we love Las Olas.
Yep.
But you got to get out and about to kind of maybe find some of the places that are a little bit more intriguing, like that Lao restaurant I went to in Deerfield over the weekend, or Costas, the Greek eatery, or this weekend. This week, actually, we're going to be going out, and this segues perfectly, Lubie, into the first uh, break of the day. But tomorrow, I can't believe, these holiday weeks,
I
besides
know. It's
having no
already Wednesday.
sleep,
Today's
not
Wednesday.
having a Monday show. Today is Wednesday, so I'm still trying to process the fact that tomorrow is Thursday, and that means Thursday is the going to be the grand finale of the Sistrunk Marketplace Fired Up competition, and I am fired up for the finale. Unfortunately, the NBA Finals will not include the local home team, Miami Heat, but
Mm.
we are going to get some finals action, because at Sistrunk Marketplace tomorrow, and this is going to take place before the NBA Finals, and you could go, even if you go out there, you could still watch the game afterwards at 9:05 as tip-off between Golden State and the hated Boston
Yeah.
Celtics. But earlier, starting at 6 o'clock, we're going to be having the Final Four, food competition wise. Sistrunk Marketplace, we're going to basically, it's down to four competitors that are vying for a kiosk in the Sistrunk Marketplace Food Hall, which is located at 115 Northwest 6th Street in Fort Lauderdale. and we've whittled down the field. I think the starting field was about 21, 22 competitors. And now we're down to the final four. And the cool part is if you go onto sitstruckmarketplace.com right now and click on Fired Up Competition, it'll take you to eventbrite.com and you could purchase yourself and your friends tickets. And I think for about $19, $20, very reasonable, you will get in and you will get a plate. You get to sample all the final four competitors' food, and you'll also get a drink ticket. So you get a free drink, dinner, and get to hang out and watch the competition unfold. And the finalists include it's the Nola Creations food truck. They make some pretty good Cajun Creole cuisine, stuff like crawfish pasta. They call it crawfish
Oh,
Monica. They have like a fried shrimp po' boy. I don't know what they're going to be dishing out tomorrow.
mm.
And the other competitors, there's a Bahamian couple, and we're going to be talking to them. Actually, we're going out tomorrow to preview the competition live during the noon lunch hour, and we're going to be talking to a lovely couple that they are from the Bahamas, and they have a food concept known as Island Made, and showcasing some of the cuisine of the Bahamas, which is perfect because this is I guess Caribbean Heritage Month here. June is Caribbean Heritage Month, so we'll be talking to them tomorrow about that. There's a vegan competitor, and for those who maybe turn their noses up at meat-free food, I got to tell you, there's been so much progress in terms of the flavor and taste, and some of these vegan chefs are doing just really incredible things. And then the fourth finalist, they make arepas. It's a couple, and
Ooh.
they make some good, and of course, anybody who's South American, whether you're Venezuelan, Colombian, there's different styles of arepas, but they'll be in the running too. If you come on out, get your tickets on eventbrite.com for Sistrunk Marketplace's Fired Up competition. You'll get to sample all those different flavors, and then you vote for your best, what you think should be the winner. You put your chip in the jar, and then the judges will make the final decision. Steve DePuzzo from Society 8 Hospitality, they run the marketplace. It's going to be a great fun time tomorrow, 6 o'clock to 8:30, 9 o'clock. Come hang out, eat a little bit, drink a little bit. They got, besides the center bar, they have a nice brewery there called Kaufner Brewery. Check it out. We'll see you tomorrow night at Sistrunk Marketplace. Get your tickets, sistrunkmarketplace.com.
This is Mike Mayo's Lunchbox each and every day, Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. on 1470 WWNN, 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and of course, we are digital, WWNNtalkradio.com. Coming up next, more of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here on 1470 WWNN.
We're back on the lunchbox, and I'm trying to multitask. Multitasking men is usually a bad idea. I'm trying to send it,
I not do the
and oh,
Facebook.
now I'm getting, and this is bad. Now I'm getting feedback. Hold on, I gotta. You'll bear with me. I hope I don't X out the wrong.
Well,
Here we go.
focus for
All
a
right.
second. Well, what I'll say is, um, I do appreciate being here with you guys and meeting you and being involved with you. I don't know if you've ruined me or made me better, but whenever I eat food now, it's a whole different experience. Like I used to just eat to eat. Now I'm like, okay, I'm paying attention to texture. I'm paying attention to the temperature. I'm paying attention to all these things. So I guess you've enlightened me. I don't know, but I feel like
No,
a different eater now since I've met the one and only Mike Mayo.
well, and that's thank you for the compliment. And no, I gotta tell you, Lubie, because I got a little scared the first time Defo was talking about the way you eat, that debris goes flying all over the place, that I might have to wear not just a mask and a bib and maybe a construction helmet or something like that. But you have been very well behaved, and not just well behaved. I mean, you are appreciating the different styles of food, and we've explored different things from sushi with Kaizen, my friend Kui Lam, and the Haitian place at Casa Champette and Pembroke Pines. And no, and I'm proud of you that you are willing to explore. And I think
Thank you.
your better half, Shirley. She seems like a pretty good adventurous eater. She likes going around the world. She
Yep.
likes eating like a native.
Yep.
And yeah, and there are two types of people in the world. I don't like to use the word foodie. I actually hate the word foodie. I was having a discussion with people this morning. I'm just an eater, or in Yiddish they call it a fresser. I love my Brooklyn Yiddish, and fresser is somebody who just likes to eat and eats with gusto, and that's what I am. I enjoy good food, and I'm not one of these two bite guys. I mean, I'm supposed to be a two bite guy when you go to judge a food competition and there's 21 different plates, but if something's good, I don't want to waste it. I'm going to devour the whole thing. But the bottom line is, yeah, there are people who live to eat. Well, they eat to live, where they just putting a little fuel in their body and they don't even pay
Mhm.
attention half the time, and they're just funneling in garbage. And not to call all fast food garbage, but mostly it is. And people who are looking for the cheapest food and the biggest portions because they want to always take home leftover. No, I'm the kind of guy that look. I like value, and I was actually going to have a discussion about value with you next, because it was something that I encountered this past weekend. But yeah, there's people who eat. Live to eat and eat to live, and I'm a live to eat person. I love exploring different food. I don't spend money on clothes or cars. You could see that, but
You look fine.
and but I don't mind going out to a nice restaurant and blowing the bank on something that's worth it. Now, nothing worse than having a meal that you find is like underwhelming or mediocre, and next thing you know, you spent like $150 for two people or something like that, and that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, because I want to eat good food. And like you said, you're now learning to appreciate the textures, the flavors, and the composition of the plates. And Brad and Dave over at Even Keel, not
Oh
to
my
always blow
god.
smoke up our
They
sponsors,
do a
but
whole
there's
thing.
yeah, they're sponsors for a reason, because not I don't just associate with anybody. You have to create good food in a also a pleasing, or sometimes artistic manner, the culinary arts they call it, because and Brad and Dave at Even Keel, every plate you'll see there's like a bunch of things going on, and the way they plate things and compose the plates, and usually they'll have a layer of some sort of spread or emulsion at the bottom, and then they'll have some fresh vegetables, or some pickled like a pickled green beans or something. And it's like everything fits together. Some people might find it well, I don't find it busy. If it all makes sense, if all the flavors match up together, that's what you want. Now, there are other chefs, less experienced chefs, that maybe try to put things together and try to make a plate too busy. And
Mm.
that's the fun with food, is you play with food, you play around with different flavors, you see what works, what doesn't work. Generally, I belong to the KISS philosophy, which is keep it simple, stupid.
The
So if you get a
journalism.
nice piece
Yeah.
of fish, and like I was talk about, sponsor. I was over at Joey Esposito and Cafe Seville last night. I always try to get in there at least once a month because he does just such a great job. And I had a beautiful piece of, he had fresh wahoo that came in, and he kind of blackened it, seasoned a little bit with this fresh local wahoo. It's a
Mm.
firmer fish. It actually sometimes it cuts up like a steak, and so those who wants a little more, instead of just a flaky or light fish, the wahoo was delicious there last night. I don't even know how I've gotten here, but I just love talking about
I'm
food.
sorry, I set you up.
I love
I just
eating
I just
food.
thought about it the other
And
day, like, because you'll use terms with food that, like, well, and you have this look on your face, and I'm like, I've never felt like that with food. How do I get there?
practice. No, and that was the thing, I've just kind of fell into it. It was always a passion of mine. And, I started off as a sports writer and I would travel. And one of the fun parts about traveling is, you don't have to just duck into a local McDonald's or an In-N-Out burger if you happen to be in Vegas or California, but you go get the lay of the land and you check out what are some of the, better places. And it doesn't all have to be super expensive or super fancy, but just place that locals go to, that, places that are known for quality. So one of my favorite food cities, San Francisco. So today I wish I was an NBA writer because having a finals between San Francisco and Boston is two of the
Oh,
better food cities in the country. And how I usually like to handicap playoff games or sporting events based on which city would you rather be eating
yeah.
in, or which one has the better restaurants. San Francisco obviously gets the nod over Boston, as good as Boston is, and Boston has the North End for Italian and all kinds of good, seafood places and some honky tonk places. Well, not honky tonk like Texas, but like towny places that but where you can go in and get a sirloin steak tips, the tri tips they call them. You don't really see it down here, but Boston has some of these good local hangouts, bars, burgers, sirloin tips, roast beef sandwiches, and clam strips and things like that. But San Francisco can't be beat. One of the best food cities in the country. You've been to both cities, I imagine, right?
I have not been to Boston, and I have the two bigger food cities I haven't been to are Boston and Chicago. I have been to
Yeah.
New Orleans, and I have been in New York, of course, and I have been to San Francisco. I am curious how, because I've heard great things about Chicago. Like, people talk about Chicago just like they talk about San Francisco and New Orleans. So I'm curious how that stacks up, because San Francisco was amazing. Like, the
No,
food is ridiculous.
and we're lucky because we live in one of the top spots.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of times the food lovers, I'm not going to use the word foodies, but food lovers and foodies, they love to have debates about, oh, what are your top 5 cities? Where would you go? And I break it down. And first of all, I hate those games because it's so limiting, and it's no need to limit it to 5.
Yeah.
But if you got to play the game, I would say, there's bigger cities and smaller cities. Now, smaller cities is kind of easy because um, believe it or not, the two Portlands. I don't know if Portland, Oregon, is a small city, but you don't think of it like some of the big boys. But Portland, Maine, is a smaller city and it has a tremendous food scene.
Mm.
Portland, Oregon, has a great food scene. Charleston, South Carolina, is a small city with a great food scene. I'm not sure what else you put in small cities, but then when you call,
Asheville, do we consider Asheville still small? Because they have
yeah,
a very
oh yeah,
food scene. Like, they take
yeah,
it
no,
serious.
they're a big thriving food scene, and yeah, I put them into the smaller city category. But then when you get into the major leagues, and then how do you just keep it down to 5? But you have to say San Francisco, New Orleans, New York, Chicago, and I'm putting Miami, South Florida in there
Yeah.
because we have so much diversity down here, and the type of uh, just the breadth of the Latino, the Latin American food, the South American food, other regions can't compare. So I would say that it is we hold our own, and so anybody who can see this and stream around the country, come on down. This is actually the greatest time of year after the snowbirds leave, but before we get into the really dog days of summer. I was just remarking about this with a friend of mine who just bought a house in Deerfield Beach. He's supposed to go back up to the New York, upstate New York. He has a house in the Catskill Mountains. He
Mm.
evacuated New York City. He can't stand it there anymore. Too crowded and too expensive. But he's going back for a couple of months. But he was surprised because this is the first time he's been in Florida in May and June, and he was just saying it's beautiful here. It's gorgeous here. And I was like, yeah, as long as rainy season doesn't come, those stretches where we get 10 days in a row of downpours, and knock wood, we haven't gotten that yet. Usually it comes sometime in June, but even all the way up through July 4th, I posit the theory that it's more pleasant here for July 4th weekend half the time, or most of the time, than if you're up in some of the places like Boston or New York, because it gets so sweltering and humid, and a lot of places are older buildings that don't have air conditioning or aren't well air conditioned. So it's uh, I love it here all year long. Not necessarily so much August, September, but it's and again, once you get to this time of year, it's beautiful because you can go to any restaurant, and even the trendiest places down in South, in Miami, or the hottest spots on Atlantic Avenue and Delray Beach, or on Los Olas Boulevard. You could get in, on a given night, and even on a Friday, Saturday. All right, it might be a little crowded, but it's not like you're going to get it turned away. So I brought it back to restaurants somehow, Lubie, and
You
yeah,
always do. You're great at it. That's why I started where I started. I'm like, I wonder how quick it'll take him to get back to his favorite restaurants and favorite places. That's my favorite part of
yeah.
the show. That's why I love doing this. Like, I love that you talk sports when I'm here, and I appreciate it. I get plenty of sports. I don't get enough food. Like, your food breadth of knowledge opens my eyes that Shirley actually respects me for a few days after I talk to you.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be respectable, and I try to have my knowledge rub off on people, and I don't try to be a know-it-all, and I don't pretend to know it all. That's again, food is a very humbling game because again, there's so many different regional styles. And even if you think you might know something like, Thai cuisine, well, maybe Southern Thai or things from Bangkok, but not necessarily from the Northern Hill country of Chiang Mai. And it's a big world out there. I've been fortunate enough to travel, but not a lot lately. And I've only been to 26 countries, and I've only been to 43 states. So I'm missing a lot. And you realize it's a humbling game because you go and you'll eat something you've never eaten before, and I want to learn about it, and I want to learn about different styles and techniques, and it's all here. And I guess that's a perfect segue into our Lauderdale visit. Lauderdale, we're going to be with Nikki Mohan tomorrow at Sistrunk Marketplace, and talking with that lovely Bahamian couple for Caribbean Heritage Month. But visit Lauderdale. They're introducing now. It's June. It's summertime is here. They have this great thing, a whole bunch of different specials called Lauder Deals, and
Nice.
it combines. You get some good deals at hotels if you want to do a staycation, or tell all your friends around the country to come on down. And they also have spa treatments, and then they also going to have the meal component where different restaurants take part, where they have multi-course meals at a reasonable low price. So this summer, you've got to come on down here or stay here and enjoy the good life for less in Greater Fort Lauderdale with Lauder Deals. It's great deals on dining, hotels, attractions, spas, and more all summer long. Start planning your summer getaway online at visitlauderdale.com/deals and see all the ways you can save. You can find great hotel deals on everything from luxury beach resorts to family-friendly suite hotels. Indulge in food and drink specials at local restaurants and bars. Shop Lauder Deals for exciting attractions like Flamingo Gardens and Butterfly World. Plus, if you're a Florida resident, a first responder, or in the military, you'll find even more deals and savings just for you. From miles of golden beaches to pampering at celebrated hotels and resorts, the good life awaits in Greater Fort Lauderdale. Shop Lauder Deals now at visitlauderdale.com/deals and plan your best summer vacation ever.
This is Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here on 1470 WWN. And also check it out 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, depending on where you are in Broward County, and also anywhere. Check it out, WWNNtalkradio.com. Coming up more Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here on 1470 WWNN.
And we're back on Mike Mayo's Lunchbox with Lubie filling in for Defo. I haven't checked his social. Has he posted anything from Italy? He sent me
Not
something
really.
by text. Some women eating some sandwiches on the cobblestone streets of I don't know where. But so he's definitely there. It looks like he's enjoying himself. I think he
Yeah,
was jonesing to get out to. I think he might have found one of the racetracks. There is horse racing in Italy, so we hope Defoe's having grand old time, and he'll be
good.
back eventually. Maybe he won't come back, and that's okay. But we do miss Defoe. Meanwhile, let's see. We got tonight the Rangers. A little bit of sports talk here. I'm a Brooklyn boy, and I grew up a big New York Rangers fan. I spent some time, proud to say, up in the cheap seats, the blue seats at the old Madison Square Garden before they refurbished it, and now there are no more blue seats. But I was one of the people that would be hurling invectives and other things at Dennis Potvin of the Islanders, the hated rivals. But now the Rangers are going to be skating for the place in the Stanley Cup final tonight. They're taking on the
The
Tampa Bay
lightning. Ugh.
Lightning, the dreaded two-time defending champions that have also two-time knocked out the local Florida Panthers the last two playoff years. And I'm hoping my Rangers show much better fight than the pathetic Panthers
They
did.
will.
And it's fun for me as a when I was a sports writer, you kind of become jaded and you lose the fandom part of your soul. And you know what, I got to cover the Rangers 94 Stanley Cup run, the first one since 1940. I covered it as a sports writer slash columnist for the Sun Sentinel, and that was just a dream come true. It was a thrill. I was able to get my brother some tickets, and he was there for that game. I guess it was 6, and they sent it. You know what? I've lost all track of space and time. I think maybe Game 7 was there in the Garden. They won there, but
I think
I
so.
was also I was also there for the Mato overtime game against the New Jersey Devils that got him into the Cup Finals, and that was a blast also. So rooting for the Rangers. They were a team. I actually played some street hockey growing up. Nobody cares about this, but I am rooting hard tonight. I might go over to my friend Pat Utters at Shenanigans and check out all the good stuff. All the wings and the beers, and watch some hockey because it's getting very, very intense now. So that good luck to the Rangers. Good luck tomorrow morning before we get on the air. I think, or right about then, is Coco Golf will be playing in the semifinals, as I mentioned. Coco Golf of Delray Beach, Florida.
Yep.
And so excited for that on the sports front. And otherwise, there's really not much left on the local scene. So that's why we're going to talk about food. I'm not going to watch the Marlins. Not going to watch the
No,
Marlins.
no, no.
Mets and Yankees. I mean, it's great time to be an
Yeah, if
obnoxious
you're a
New
New
Yorker.
Yorker. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
speaking of Harvey Fialkoff, my friend Joe Cassell up in Delray Beach is a diehard Yankee fan, and I'm a Mets guy, but I'm a fair weather Mets fan. I'll admit it. And now that they're looking like a real contender, I'm going to watch some Mets games too. And my brother is a big fan too. But meanwhile, I wanted to talk. Wow, it's 12:46 already. That
Yeah, you're
caffeine
moving
is making
along.
the hour fly by, Lubie. Um, I wanted to get into the concept of value. Okay, because I
Okay.
went with my daughter for breakfast. I wouldn't even call it brunch on Sunday morning. She has a job now. She has to be at work at 10:30. She's now working in the biz. I'm very proud to say she's working at a local ice cream parlor that happens to be an institution, but she works the early shift. They open up at 11, and she gets there at 10:30. So we went out for breakfast at 9 o'clock. We went to this place that I've liked in the past, and I haven't been there in a while. It's in Hallandale Beach. I don't even know if I'm going to name it. I wrote favorably about it when I was the critic for the Sun Sentinel. And Mike Lubitz, what do you when you go out to like a breakfast and you're not drinking? It's with a 16-year-old. She had one of those like latte drinks with Nutella. I had a black coffee, and we had two, basically eggs Benedict dishes. Hers with smoked
Mm.
salmon, mine with chorizo. What would you figure a meal for two with two eggs Benedicts and a coffee and a latte drink would cost?
See, it's interesting because breakfast used to be a different price than lunch and dinner. Like it was just breakfast was its own price. It was cheaper. That's not the case. Like every meal now is the same level of price. And eggs Benedict, anything that's a Benedict is like usually $10 to $14. So if you're complaining, it's probably what 17 each. So what'd you pay 40 something for breakfast?
Okay, including tax and tip, you'd say about like 45, $50. That
I would say 35, 40. From what you're bringing up, it's probably 50. But I'm scared
they
it's
slapped
more.
down the bill, okay?
Okay.
$70.
For
Breakfast for
breakfast?
two. Breakfast for two with no alcohol, $70. Now, I looked down, my mouth dropped. So the bottom line was a couple of things went on. The server, the eggs Benedict, when she, we ordered, basically said, "Oh, do you want that? What it comes? You want either potatoes, hash browns, home fries, mac and cheese. They have mac and cheese or fruit." And both me and my daughter said fruit. And when I looked down at the bill, I saw that the fruit was a upcharge of $4 each. So that added $8, and the Benedicts, we had the more expensive ones, it was $18, 18 or
Oof.
$19. So we ended up getting like each of the Benedicts was $23. And then when the other thing they did is they added an auto gratuity of 18%.
For two
And
people?
so yeah, and then they put the tax they computed on top of the tip. So they added the tax was computed with the tip that was factored in, and it brought it over $70. And then they have the little line for additional tip. And because
Yeah,
I'm a
okay.
sucker and my daughter works in the business now, and I don't ever like to leave less than 20%, I did leave the extra $2. But I said
Yeah.
something to the server. I kind of chided her about. I said, I didn't realize it was a $4 upcharge for fruit. And she was like, "Well, it's on the menu." And sure enough, I took a picture of the menu and it was on the menu. But I said, "You know what? It's always better to just communicate when you're rattling off the side dishes. Just say it comes with potatoes, but you could also get fruit or mac and cheese for an additional charge." I said, "All you got to do is say that, and there's not going to be surprises. Customers hate surprises." I was surprised in a very negative way, and
Yeah.
I ain't paying no $72, which was with the additional tip. $72 for a two-person breakfast. The food was good, but that's above my ballpark. All right, we got to take another break, and I got to say good words about our new sponsors. Costa's Greek Eatery and Pizzeria, again, 1940 Northeast 49th Street in Pompano Beach, just west of Federal Highway, just north of Sample Road. Go online. You could order online and check out their full menu at costasgreekeaterypizzeria.com. That's Costas with a K. And you could order food anytime at 954-573-7321, 954-573-7321. They're on all the major delivery apps. And you go in there again, not just the pizzas, you get the Greek specialties, the gyros and souvlaki, spinach pie, pasticcio, which is the
Mm.
Greek lasagna. Kostas, he's a really bubbly personality. He'll throw a plate and say "Opa," and he'll hug and greet you like a long lost relative. Go into Costa's Greek Eatery and Pizzeria in Pompano. They're open daily. Bring your appetite, and remember, Costa's, where everyone is family.
After this, we'll come back and wrap things up. Mike Mayo's Lunchbox right here, 1470 WWNN, 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, and of course, WWNNTalkRadio.com. More of Mike Mayo's Lunchbox after this.
Oh yeah, Strawberry Hill. I'm hearing those '60s tunes, the hippy dippy tunes, and that reminds me. Well, Dickstein has already found our live feed. Stephen Dickstein, who's worked with me, is actually the head honcho at Best of Local Enterprises, Best of Ventures, and we do the Best of Delray app. I'm going up there later, and I don't know. The Lubie Dickstein is already on the feed. He's chatting with us. I think he might end up
It's on Facebook.
replacing.
It's on
Oh, he's on
Facebook.
Facebook. Yeah, and he might replace Jim Sarney as the official mascot of the Lunchbox. But and the other thing is tonight, I guess in Delray Beach, they have this every Wednesday. They have this drum circle, and everybody gets together and they start the pounding drums. I guess it's good therapy, and it's very lovey and hippie-ish. And I don't know. I don't know if it's my scene.
No,
Because
no,
you know me,
son.
I'm a very kind of yeah,
Acerbic.
acerbic. I hate people. No, I don't hate people, but that's a little. It's I don't know if it's my style, but we'll see how lubricated I get at happy hour, and then
Exactly.
maybe I might be dancing naked in the middle of Old School Square there. But hey, a couple of notes. Our friends at Tropical Acres, I got to remind everybody, this is the time to go in there because they're having their weekday lobster special, twin lobster special. $35 gets you two over
Ooh.
pound Maine or Nova Scotia live lobsters that they boil or steam, and it comes with a salad and a side dish. And for $35, Monday through Friday, while supplies last, you want to get in there because they do run out. And tremendous value with everything you get at Tropical Acres. Monday, Tuesday, half price wine night. 4:30 to 5:30. They have the early bird special, and they're not ashamed to call it an early bird. And they get the
Yeah.
greatest hospitality, the Studio Alley family. We're gonna have to get back there soon. They have happy hour in the bar now from 4:30 to 6:30, and they've got some great light bites and half price drink specials. Go to Tropical Acres, 2500 Griffin Road in Dania, Fort Lauderdale. All right, what's on the agenda for you for the rest of the day? You doing any eating or hockey watching, or what's going on,
Okay,
Lubie?
well, I would have had something else to say here, and I'll try and be quick. I've been on Ryan's side of things, so I know the clock is sitting there ticking very loudly. So to ask a question now is when I would want to throw Defo off out of the studio, but I'm going to do it anyway. So sorry, Ryan. Um, Stephen Dickstein has repeatedly said a restaurant that I actually like. One of the first ones was around the corner from my house. My brother was like friends with the owners. I've realized over my years that there's like 5 around South Florida. It is an interesting combination, but it's sort of a combination that works. I like La Bamba's, so I don't know what the heck happened at La Bamba's, but he keeps bringing up La Bamba. So what is your issue with La Bamba's? Like, I like La Bamba's. What do they do
Oh,
to you?
I've got no beef with La Bamba.
Okay.
I've always thought it was glop on a plate because it's that Tex-Mex. And look, it has a lot of fans. I know good friends of mine, some neighbors, they love it. They go to the one in Lauderdale all the time. There's one up in Pompano they go to, and it's been dependable. It's this regional chain they call it Mexican, but it's really Tex-Mex style with all the cheese and the
Cuban, they
refried
have
beans.
Cuban.
But they also have Latin and Cuban food, and so they'll have the ropa viejas and some of the pork chops. And now Dickstein, he went to a La Bamba near him. He said that he would deal with it. And again, I could go in there and every once in a while, but he said he had some of the pork chops last night were a little bit on the edge. And
Mm,
when you get something that you don't know if it's how fresh it is or how long it's been sitting around, this is one of the things. I don't want to cast any aspersions. I'm sure that it's not past its expiration date, but sometimes you get something that doesn't taste the best. And
mm.
but again, La Bamba, I can't badmouth it. It's good value. It's a good family place. It's a family friendly. Again, the prices won't break the bank, but given a choice of going out for, and again, I'm not the biggest Mexican fan. I like real Mexican. I like things like moles and things that are on the
Tamales.
lighter side, that not necessarily all the fried and cheesy refried beans with blanketed in cheese. But again, food is so subjective, and there's something out there for everyone. And that's going to wrap it up for today, Luby. I am excited. The hour flew by. And hopefully I'll get some sleep at some point in the next 24 hours until we meet again. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Enjoy your milk for Milk Day. And maybe I'll get some Fox's You Bet syrup and mix it up and make myself an egg cream for National Milk Day.
There
This
you
is
go.
Mike Mayo. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, remember to enjoy every sandwich.